What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MyMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And I'm a little cold, so my hood's up. It's a little chilly. But today we're going to talk about Skeleton Crew, Season 1, Episode 3. I decided to continue to talk about the show. I was going to go into this trying to look at it as Goonies in space and try to ignore the fact that it's Star Wars. But damn, they really want to keep pushing the Star Wars elements on me. And I'm just going to keep trying to ignore them. I'm just going to try to keep ignoring. You know, they keep talking about Jude Law's character being a Jedi. I think it's more interesting that he's, that they, I think they're leaning in a Long John Silver road with them, which really sort of, I think if you look at Skeleton Crew as a, like what DC is doing with like Elseworlds, where they're not part of it's not part of the DCEU, but they can continue to tell stories if they want that are not tied into the overall main storylines. And I think Disney Plus has tried to do this with these like sort of, although something like Echo, even though it was only intended to have one season, still obviously, I mean, Kingpin's in it. It obviously has, it resonates coming out of something where, you know, they're using Kate Bishop, Haley Steinfeld. So it's hard to say that that doesn't have connective tissue. I just kind of wish this was like a standalone story that had no consequence and just happened to take place. And maybe they didn't need Jedi and they didn't need to throw in the little Star Wars references along the way. But I guess we're going to do it. So Jude Law's here playing the, I'm sure he's going to follow sort of like the same narrative that we have in Treasure Island at this point, since they're really leaning that way with him. I caught the Captain Silver reference that he had when he walked into the shop, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. So yeah, I think that's where we're headed. He's going to have sort of like that moral dilemma that Silver has at the end of Treasure Island, where he sort of maybe isn't the baddest of bad guys. It's sort of like the Grinch. I don't know. His heart grew 2 sizes that day. So he's trying to protect these kids and keep them alive, mainly because he needs them to get into Ad Adam. I mean, he's going to use them as guys. He can't just like show up to a place that is mysteriously hidden from the rest of the world and expect to get in without saying, I have your children. So, and to be fair, they all have different opinions about whether or not they should trust him. They do make him go back and get the droid. So that's good, because the droid recognizes Fern as the captain and not him. So that could benefit them later on down the line. They then fly to, by the way, my favorite moment of audio description was when he goes into the droid shop and there was the droid that wanted to save the prince. And we get this little spot of audio description as Captain Silver is looking up at the droid that he needs. I don't know, the NX57, whatever. He needs a name. He's hanging by chains. And he's looking up at him, and then behind him, that other droid like moves, and we get the actual like. I think the description said something like the droid that was looking for the prince moves across the room, and I love that, like, because he doesn't have a name, and what else do you call him? Because he didn't say what his droid name was. So I enjoyed that. That was fun. So Captain Silver, who will later have another nickname. When we get to the next planet, he rejoins the kids. He gets destroyed, rejoins the kids, and they leave. And they go to this other planet where they land, and they kind of hide the ship. And they go, and he's like, "Well, this person may stab me in the back, so you know, be careful." And it's this like owl-ish alien, which I think is great for Star Wars. Like, I love that they sort of like created this new thing. So whoever's doing the voice work here, also solid work. I thought she did a good performance, but she's somebody who like studies the galaxy. She has like an observatory, and she does all these star charts and stuff like that. And so that's when, you know, she sees these kids and she's like, did he kidnap them? What's going on? So basically, uh, they find Adam sort of, I mean, they narrow it down a little bit, and things go awry and they have to run and they leave the owl lady behind. Run back to the ship. They're being chased by fighters who also don't want to hurt them because they're like 4 kids there. So they kind of give up at the end, which is funny. And they're just like, well, we can't hurt the 4 kids. I love that this is very aimed at kids. That's what I love about the show is like, if you forget that it's a Star Wars show, I think it's a really fun show. This episode was also directed by David Lowery, who directed episode 2 as well. So, meanwhile, on the home planet of Adam, whatever, the parents are, you know, trying to figure out how to get their kids back. We spend very brief amount of time with them, but basically they're told once their kids exit that they can't risk sending anybody else out there after them. Basically, yeah, this is like Shangri-La. They live in some sort of like bubble. This is like the lost city of Atlantis. If you leave Atlantis, I guess they just leave you to your own devices type of thing. It's some sacred hidden place that they've managed to hide from the rest of the galaxy, which is why it feels like it's, you know, the land of time forgot. And it feels like, as another critic put, St. Louis, uh, which I pushed back on. I was like, I know it should not. I still think in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, this does not work. In Goonies in Space, it works. So I'm trying to be cheerful, and I'm trying to think about this as Goonies in Space. So for Goonies in Space, I'm enjoying the show, and I'm trying really hard not to think about it as a Star Wars show, because when you do, when you get bogged down by it, I think it gets stupid. And but actually, after I watched the first 2 episodes, I found myself actually thinking to myself, you know what? I actually enjoyed the show, but I hate the fact that it's Star Wars. But I love Star Wars. So it's like, I think it's a great idea for a show, but a lot of the choices that they're making just don't work for a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And they sort of lose the aspect of what made Star Wars cool. So when you start going down the Star Wars route of it, it doesn't work. But if you just think about it as this is a Disney Plus show, I think it's a great Disney Plus show, and they don't make enough original content. Everything they fucking make on Disney Plus is tied to something. It's all franchise. It's all like a Disney character that already exists. It's a remake of a film franchise. It's a Star Wars or Marvel product. They are like, every time they make something that's close to an original concept, it was like Big Shot and Diary of a Future President. It ran for 2 seasons. They had no basis in anything. And Disney just isn't interested in making anything original on their streaming service. Everything is like tied to a franchise. So this would have been an excellent thing for them to do, is to separate this from Star Wars and then still make it and then show people that they can create something for Disney Plus that's original and that has its own vibe. I think Goonies in Space is a great idea, and that's basically what this is. So I'm enjoying the show more. I'm a little bit more upbeat about it since my first review, which not that many people watch. That's cool. And I enjoyed this episode. Not as a Star Wars show. I'm going to continue to look at this as not as a Star Wars show. Be slightly annoyed by the Star Wars references. But we're going to keep trying to plug forward. So my grade right now, we're moving on up. I'm going to give Skeleton Crew a B+. I'm trying to be more positive about this because I did actually enjoy it. If Darth Vader shows up, I'm gonna really struggle. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.